just like a week after, Magnus was like a bit coy, and he was like, "Can you meet up with me?" and he was like half an hour late because he'd been going to hot yoga with his sisters.
Are you sure it was his sisters?
Yes.
Okay.
But then he sat me down and he's like, "Do you want to be involved in the World Championship match?" And obviously, I had been thinking about this. It was his first match, and I was like, "I'm here. I'm close. I can be like the apprentice, the guy who's never been involved in something to this scale before, and try and learn the ropes and maybe be a resource for the future." And then he goes ahead and says, "Yeah, no, I want you to lead the team. I want you to kind of be in charge of gathering up all the analysis, organizing it, and feeding it forward." And that was a job I was not qualified for whatsoever. And I actually reminisced about this the other day, and. Yeah, I did quite a poor job, I think, personally.
Really?
Yeah, but
in what way?
I pushed for some stuff that was incorrect. I pushed Magnus to play this ready with the white pieces, which was just a complete disaster for the first two white games. And I think part of the reason why I pushed for that was because I had spent a couple of months between June and the match just basically trying to get up to date on all the openings there were. And I made this amateur mistake that I had no one to interact with. So I wasn't getting like feedback on
from others.
The work I was doing. And it made me tunnel vision on a couple of things. And those two initial white games didn't work out. I also did good things. Don't get me wrong. Like I did some work on the Berlin, which was completely shutting down Vishy. So much so that Vishy just switched to 1d4 in the second match, which went much better for him.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, no, we really shut him down in the Berlin Spanish stuff. But yeah, no, that was. But in after that, I've had some conversations with Henrik, Magnus's dad / manager / everything fixer. Yeah. And what Henrik told me is that when Magnus chose to use me instead of Potkin, who he had used for the candidates tournament, he was basically saying, "I will have to take a bigger role in this work than maybe I'm used to. But I understand that that's my decision, and I'd rather have a friendly team than a very kind of, the situation is tense enough." And so maybe he felt like friendly faces were more important than competent faces. Because there's no doubt Vladimir Potkin is a much better second than me. But maybe that was not the vibe Magnus was looking for at that time.
Very interesting. And tell us a little bit about how you felt during the match itself, and what were your big tasks from day to day during the match.
Well, I mean, because the match was in Chennai, our sleep rhythm was very much disturbed by that. So we were having some long evenings, nights to put everything together, and then sending it over to Magnus. We weren't in Chennai ourselves, which was very uncommon, but that's how Magnus wanted it. He wanted to have, his friends, his team, his dad, those closest to him in everyday life, also closest to him during the match, and the rest of us, we were just sitting at home doing the work, making some recommendations, sending them on to Magnus. And to be honest, the first match, there wasn't that much tension, right? He just absolutely destroyed Vishy.
Yeah.
But then the second match, which fortunately then Peter Heine was out of his self-imposed quarantine. Because he was Vishy's second.
Yeah.
He came to help Magnus for the candidates tournament. But when Magnus was playing against Vishy, Peter felt, well, maybe that was the deal he made with Vishy all along. But he had already decided that he would not be helping out for the first match with Vishy. And then for the second one, it was enough time had elapsed for chess. Chess seems slow, but it does move fairly quickly as far as opening goes. So he was back for the second match, and so he had to take a lot more of the tension there, because the second match was close.
Yep. Surprisingly close, I would say, compared to what happened the year before.
I don't even remember, but did Vishy take the lead? I think maybe he took the lead. And there was this moment where Magnus had an advantage out of the opening, and then out of nowhere he blundered 2 pawns in one move. And like I was, when that happened, I was on the way to the pool, because Fress was at the pool and he was just chilling. And I was on my way there, and I see Magnus blundering 2 pawns, or rather, I see the computer saying what has happened. And I'm like, unfreaking believable. I run as fast as I can back to our room to basically just try and find someone else and talk about what just happened. And no one were found, and Vishy just made a different move in like half a minute.
Yeah, this was the famous double blunder or something like
Yeah. Was that game 6?
Laurent Fresinet, you were talking about him, right?
Yeah.
I guess he was saying, Jean-Louis Emer, you need to see this move.
Well, I was the one who saw it in real time.
Yeah.
And he was blissfully ignorant of the
Just relaxing by the
disaster
pool.
that was occurring. Yeah.
Amazing. And Magnus, though, he said after he won, Jon Ludvig has done a great job. He shut down Anand completely with white, and that won the match for me. So looking back, you must feel proud and
those were very kind words, and they were true. But I still have things I would do differently now that I'm more experienced. But that's only natural.
I just get this vibe. Let's get the old band together. You as the head second, and Magnus back in the circuit of World Championships.
I'm sure you've been asked before, Jon Ludvig, but do you ever think Magnus will play for the title again?
No, he's not gonna. I think once he gives up the throne, the thing is, in order to come back, he needs to get through the candidates tournament.
Yeah.
And that is so much tougher than the match itself. Because in the match, Magnus has never been less than an 80% favorite in a match, right? Because all he has to do is just not lose a game.
Yep.
And he's going to win. And he is very difficult to beat. And even if you do beat him once, there's a fair likelihood he's going to beat you twice in return, if not more. But once you give that away and you get into the candidates tournament, it becomes, because then it's not enough for you not to lose. There's so many other guys who's capable of just going on these incredible streaks. And you can have a great candidates tournament and still not qualify to the match if one of the other guys just decided to, I'm going to win everything this week.
Yeah. I agree.
And so in a field of 8 players, you're never going to be more Magnus would maybe be a 50% favorite, which is insane for such an event, but that's how good he is. But going into that, do you want to do the 50-50 that your legacy is blemished by not kind of opting out, but then not managing to get back in when you try? I don't think it's worth it. And I also think it's true what he says, that he doesn't enjoy working so much on these openings, which he feels is so important for the classical games. And then, he's made his decision. I think chess is poorer for it. I think his legacy is poorer for it. But it was his decision to make.
Were you surprised at how involved Magnus was himself in terms of the preparations and he wanted things to be done this way, etc.?
No, I think for the first World Championship match, it's a big event. You're feeling the pressure. Everyone's expecting you to win. You got to take charge of that yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. Well, when we were having training camps and whatnot, Magnus was still, the same dude he's always been. He was more interested in playing tennis than analyzing the intricacies of the Caro-Kann. I think he had to take charge to get the team the way he wanted it to. But at the same time, I think the main thing is that he realized he had to take charge of his own destiny.
Yeah, that makes sense.